everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Three Dads and a Console. We know not every dad can stay up to date on the latest and greatest in video game news that you need to know about, so we are here to do it for you. Remember, the show is kid-friendly, so no earmuffs are needed. I'm one of your hosts, Wobble Plays, alongside, as always, Court. Hello, Court.
Hey, what's up?
Heard you had a quiet weekend this weekend.
Yeah, it was awesome. I'm not gonna lie, it was awesome.
Sounds awesome.
To the listeners in the I got to attend the Xbox Canada Xbox Bethesda showcase live in Toronto. It was really cool. It was a once in a lifetime experience. I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of great people. It was just awesome. Let's be honest. It was I said this to Sean Capri from Carpool Gaming, that other thing I do, one of many. And it hit me like on Monday. I was just like sitting here and I was watching the stuff. Like I was on YouTube and I'm going through and I'm watching the 4K videos of everything. And I'm like, wait a second. I was there live. I don't even I watched the 4K video. Wait, what? Like it was just one of those things. Like we've all watched E3 and I've been watching E3 from when it was like first you couldn't see it and it was just this thing that you got a news release the next day. And I've been so like every console and I'm going through everything, and to think I was actually at the event invited by Xbox was just crazy to me. Like I even said this a couple of times. Like, are you sure you want to? Like, am I really here? Like, there was a picture taken. I'm sure you guys saw it. Of all the creators that were there, and I'm like in the middle, and I'm like, you guys sure you want me in the photo? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Why am I in this photo? But okay, I'm here.
We'll talk about that more, but it's Court's already shared some stories, so it's you guys are in for a treat.
Sure.
The third one, Pez, got to hand it to you. What's going on, Pez?
Hey, what's going on, man? You could say I'm shining like a sapphire on this beautiful Wednesday.
How you doing today?
I'm great, man. Before we get into it, Waba.
I wish I could reach around and hug you.
That was a great one. Waba, I'm great. How was the Anamanaguchi show?
Oh, that's right. So we didn't get a chance to talk about it last time. It was cool. It was nice to be able to hang out with you. I'm glad to know that we're definitely the same height. So
Definitely.
Everyone remember that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for those who don't know or don't remember, Pez and I got to go see Anamanaguchi, and it was dope.
It was.
Who was the
very
awkward
good.
one? Who was the awkward one out of you two? I'm looking at Pets' eyes. That's what I thought. It's all right, Wava. It's all right.
What, me? So let me tell you something. So it was funny because
I love how you just did the realization in your eyes. You're like, wait, yeah, it was definitely me.
So I always, when I go to things, I kind of like do my own thing, and I mean that like I'm like, hey Pez, I want to get this food from a place. Can you? I just put my car in neutral, and you just stay here while I run in and get food. Oh, I also brought a cooler because I'm bringing home food from this place, and he's like, yeah, sure,
Yeah,
it was great.
I talked to the homeless guy who tried to get money from me. It was great. We had a great time. He asked me to buy him pizza. I said no.
Yeah, but pizza in Boston is gross, anyways. Like you're doing him a favor.
Yeah, I mean he's homeless. Whatever.
But it was good, and I've never been to a show like that. But the bass was insane. So Pez brought earplugs.
Yeah,
and I was like,
I wear them to every show. When you get older, you will too.
Well, and so I was like, oh my gosh, what a boomer move. And then like so they're playing their music, so it's bass boosted, plus they're playing it on instruments, so then you have drums and bass guitar. And as soon as that first thing hit, Pez and me are both like, oh,
yep, right in. They went right in.
Well, as Pez is a fellow tinnitus person,
yep,
we need to.
Yep.
Yeah, I made that joke too. I'm like, oh, what, do you got tinnitus? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
so do I.
My bad.
Happens to the best of us. No, it was
dozens of us.
So for those that don't know, it was Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the video game soundtrack. That's like what the tour was about, and they played that for about what would you say, 45 minutes?
Yeah, it was like half the
straight. So they played that straight.
Crazy.
The whole soundtrack straight. They had the game running in the background, and then they played some of their originals. They played some covers. It was awesome. It was a good time.
Their encore though. So they do a song. Most of you don't care. It's called Miku. They use Saki Fujita's Miku voice as well, and it's actually it's licensed to go on tour when Miku tours. Like they use this song frequently.
What the F did you just say? Sachimo.
If you're a weeb, you get it, and you're like, oh, that's
Okay.
cool, or you already knew that. But then their encore was a version of Black Sheep, which is in Scott Pilgrim, originally sung by Metric. In the movie, it's sung by Brie Larson, but it was sung by Hatsune Miku. And for me, that was like sick because I was supposed to go to the Miku concert, being the COVID happened, so to kind of be able to get a little bit of that, that was cool. A cover of a song that I enjoy from a movie I love. So it's very Inception-y. And again, if you don't like weeb stuff, you're like you have the same reaction as Cord. But if you do, you're like, oh, that's cool. So, you know.
I'm happy that you're happy.
That one's for the nerdy, the degenerate boys.
It was a great concert.
I'm happy you're happy.
Except the turning down to go into the parking garage when I scraped my car against the wall because it was so tight, dude. It was so tight. Now I drive a Chevy Cruze. It's not a big car, and Waba drives a car that is of the similar size. We'll say maybe it's actually a tad bigger. And Waba had to like 5-point turn. That's how tight it was because I was afraid I was gonna hit my driver's side. Like headlamp, and I missed it, but I scraped the back quarter panel.
You gotta throw the e-brake on that turn, man.
Just a little cosmetic damage. I didn't want to Tokyo drift down into a Boston parking garage.
That's all it is, dude. You just gotta hit R2.
You know what? It is what it is. It was my first indoor show in about 4 years, and it was amazing. I loved it. We had a great time.
It was great. I'm never going outside again, so that was the last time.
No, we touched grass once and never again.
I will say, when we were in line, like, Nana comes by and she's like, who's this for? And someone's like, oh, it's Anamanaguchi. She's like, Anamanaguchi?
Yeah, Anamanaguchi.
And she's like, oh, I think I've heard of them. Like, no, you haven't, Nana.
You definitely haven't, lady. Keep walking. The Celtics are tomorrow night.
Oh, but yeah, good show, good times. So let's talk about the most recent show, and that is the Xbox Bethesda showcase. So Cord, I wanna ask you to lead off because you have the inside scoop. You were 5 minutes in the future from us.
Yeah, I was Marty McFly. Like, straight up with Marty McFly. You know what? When I can use it, I'll use it. So yes, I realized while I was there live that I ended up was 5 minutes ahead, and when the announcement for Persona happened, I was very, very tempted to text A1 Waba Plays. I was very tempted because for the listeners out there, and he said it on this episode, on the show before, Waba has always made two claims to saying why he would buy an Xbox. One was it needed Diablo type games. So I don't know if you know the SEC and all that. So they have dropped any investigation now officially on the Activision Blizzard, and everything is good to go, and so that's gonna go through. So Diablo games. 2, Waba really likes the Fallout series. Check. And 3, a certain game is one of Waba's favorites. It's made by a developer named, I believe it's Atlas.
Yep, small
I
indie
believe.
company.
Yeah, small indies. They make a game called Persona. That is one of Waba's favorite I would say by a long margin. Besides NHL, Persona is it's S tier, right?
It's amazing.
They announced that Persona 3, 4, and 5 will not only be coming to Xbox. Like it would be, that announcement alone, I think would still is A tier for Xbox users because they never had it because this has always been a PlayStation joint. Not only is it coming to Xbox, but it's coming to Game Pass. It was announced later on that these games will be coming to the PlayStation consoles. But as someone that is played on both consoles, you know what they do with regards to auto HDRs and older games, and these are just facts now. They just run better on the Xbox, 100%. They get uncapped frame rates, especially because on the PlayStation they do get capped. So and I've learned this also with the new PlayStation Plus that's launched, that some of those games, I don't know. PlayStation 1 era and the Nintendo GameCube and the Xbox OG, those games, when you go back, It's like they're the high school kid that's awkward, and it's so weird. Like
Wouldn't know 'em.
when kids are cute, so that's your NES. You love that. It's great. You can always go back in your Super Nintendo. You can always go back because it's fun. But in high school when it was awkward as F, and it just wasn't that fun. There's your PlayStation, your Xbox, and your GameCube. Because I don't know what it is. I went back and started playing some of those PlayStation 1 games. I know I'm just gone on a tangent. Yeah, no, tank controls can go shove it out the window, and those games aren't good anymore. Sorry, Siphon Filter. I played you for 3 hours and couldn't do it anymore because I was going insane. So at the conference they announced that.
So real quick on Persona, because I don't want to ramble
Yes.
on it because I could forever. It's important because now people who own Xbox get to actually experience it.
Yes, 100%. And they get
and
Persona 4 Golden, which was never released on consoles before.
So exactly. So Persona 4 Golden was only on the Vita, and
And
they
PC.
recently on PC they did it on Steam. Persona 5 they're releasing Royal, which is very good, and I encourage you all to play it. Not to pull the tragedy lever. There's a new voice actor to the series who recently passed. His performance is amazing, Dr. Maruki. I'm sorry, I don't know your actual VA name. But definitely play it. It's a very, very good performance, not just from him, but from the whole cast. Persona 4, the voice actors are very unknown. You have people like Laura Bailey and Troy Baker, Johnny Botch and like Aaron Fitzgerald, voicing these characters before they blew up. This is when they did anime and not like AAA blockbusters. And then Persona 3, you could play the Vita. You could play it on Vita, but it was a PSP port. So I will agree with Court that I believe Xbox will be the definitive way to play Persona 3 FES. Or what is it? It's PES.
I even would
PS,
say
whatever.
Golden because
Persona
you're
3
going to
Portable.
get that PC version. I have a funny feeling that PlayStation version might be just a upgraded Vita version, right?
Yeah,
Possible.
But yeah, it's a very big deal for people, and if you haven't played the series, it's
Also,
very good.
I'm going to interject that Golden and Royal are the ones you want to play.
Yes,
So
and
there is
they're
a
not all
Persona
tied to each
4.
other.
There is a Persona 4 that came out on PlayStation 2, and then Golden came out on PS Vita. Golden is like your upgraded DLC included version. Royal's the same way. Go play Royal. You're not missing anything from Persona 5. You're actually getting more added content.
Yep. All right, that's my Persona TED Talk.
And then we had some cool announcements. The ones that stuck out to me, that from the creators of Rick and Morty, High on Life. Wow, that game looks awesome.
Oh man.
That game just looks like I literally in my head, I was like, that's a Pez butt game. Like that's a Pez game. And it's a me game too. It looks just like fun.
That is a Friday night streaming on Twitch.
It looks like fun. Like when the
stuff delivered.
Keep stabbing in the head. Like the animations, like everything about it was very good. I will say this about the Xbox conference. First off, everything they announced there is coming out in the next 12 months. That's unlike a lot of conferences that we watch. And that was more of a Bethesda move.
Yep.
In my mind, like it was almost like Xbox took a page out of Bethesda. Bethesda's always done that, where they're like, here's the games, and here's the ones that are coming out in the next 12 months. Like they're like, here's coming out in a year. No. Here's the ones, like here's Fallout 4. It's coming out in 6 months. Go play it. They did a very good job of keeping pace, starting off with Redfall, which looked great. And then unfortunately, and I was very excited because it seemed a lot like The Division, the way the play style. An article by Game Informer was just released today, letting me know that only the person that's the head of the squad is the progression is for. Otherwise, everybody else is not getting progression. Yeah, I know, Pez. It's making me.
Oh, I hate it.
Yeah. Otherwise, the game looked great, and I was very hyped about that game when I wasn't before. The Forza Motorsport looked unbelievable. If you're into car games, I can't believe how good that looked, how great it looked on the screen. The little dig they made at PlayStation, I don't think it was funny, but I don't know if you guys all caught it when they were like, and while driving, you get ray tracing. That was definitely.
I didn't. That's actually kind of funny.
Yeah, they said it. Mind you, I still think Sony's going to have the ultimate dig when God of War gets released on 11/11. We all know it's coming, right? Like it's not coming in September or October. It's coming of November, they said, and it's going to be in 11/11. It'll be funny. And then they showed the DLC for Forza Horizon, the Hot Wheels DLC. Oh my god, that looked like fun. And that once again, Forza Horizon is on Game Pass. The DLC is not free though. So if you get you
How
can
much
buy
is
it right.
it? Can't be much.
It's $22 Canadian right now for that DLC.
What is that, like
So that's what, like $18,
18, yeah.
15, $18 US.
That's
Probably,
reasonable.
my guess is $14.99.
Yeah.
Because that's usually what the numbers are. So $14.99 in the store, you get the Hot Wheels DLC. Once again, all these games, I believe, except 10 games that were announced at this, and that's including 3 Activision games that we all know are coming, are all on Game Pass. And it was just like Game Pass. Silk Song, I know that's a PES game. Game Pass, that's a huge game. People were losing their minds over that. And I'm just going over the highlights that games for me, because there was a lot of games that just
Diablo
weren't for
4.
me.
That made me
Well, see,
stop what I
that's
was
the
doing and
one.
turn around, dude.
That's the one that was making me going. They couldn't announce it was for Game Pass, but we all know, right? It's a Game Pass game, so it looked amazing. They started off with the Necromancer. It looked very great. And then as watching it, it was really funny how they didn't announce it for Game Pass, and I was just like, oh, okay. And then they're like, and it's coming in later, 2023, and I'm like, okay, so fiscal year starts in September, and even if this game drops in June, it's on Game Pass.
Yeah.
And then they announced a little game called Overwatch 2 that is now free to play.
Free to play.
That's weird. So Pez and I
and-
both big Overwatch fans.
Exactly. And here's the thing about if you are a Game Pass subscriber, voila, you can play it now on your phone, your tablet, your PC, and your console through Xbox Game Pass.
I don't need to get crapped on by Korean players everywhere. Just at my seat.
I honestly think what's going to happen with this is you're going to get more people playing and not just the best of the best. Then Xbox made an announcement that I thought was the biggest one of the show, and it blew me away bigger than anything else, was Riot Games.
Yes.
I thought that was ginormous. I think it got well underplayed by people talking about it. But it was the biggest dickest move I've ever seen a company do. They were like, oh yeah, so PlayStation, cool, you're putting your games on PC. Yeah, we just put Riot Games on Game Pass. Someone did the math, and I guess like League of Legends that's going to be on there because it's on Game Pass. The total value on there is like $600 and something just for that game, of all like the expansions and all that stuff. It's all on Game Pass.
Does that include Valorant? Because that's like the new
Everything
Yes,
from Riot Games is
every
on
Riot
Game
Games
Pass.
Game will be on Game Pass.
Like it's huge. And then not just Atlas, they're doing a game with Kojima that's coming out in the next 12 months, which is huge. So not only did Xbox solidify themselves in the console market, and a lot to do with the Bethesda for 100%. There's no denying that, because their first party studios besides We Playgrounds they've kind of faltered, especially look at Halo Infinite. And we'll talk about Starfield in a bit, but they solidified themselves in the Japanese market with games like Persona. The other game, I can't remember the name right now, but I know it's like a Bloodborne type game. It's hard. The makers from Sekiro, they put it someone correct me. It was in, no, it wasn't
Well,
Sekiro,
I think it's From Software that makes it.
yeah, no, it wasn't a From Software game, but it was definitely a From Software type game.
Okay.
That they showed, but then they had the Kojima game, and then they dropped the Atlas game. And they're all on Game Pass, and not just on Game Pass. They're on Game Pass on your phone, so you can play Persona on your phone.
That's a good play to.
You know what I mean?
P4.
So that gives your portable section of the Japanese marketplace. So they go after that marketplace because the Xbox Series S is doing extremely well in Japan. It's becoming.
Shambles.
Sorry.
Switch owners in shambles.
Yeah,
For
Switch.
now anyway.
It is extremely smart by them, and then they decided, hey, we want to up our subscription count. Let's go after the PC marketplace. And if you think about it now, they announced Ara, and they also earlier in the week they announced Humankind, 2 amazing real-time strategy games like Civilization type games that are now going to be on PC Game Pass. Ara looks amazing, and Humankind looks amazing. 2 games that I want to play. And then they announced all the Riot games, and not even that. Think about it. Diablo 4 PC Game Pass. It's Game Pass.
Yeah, that's huge. That's honestly that's
Fallout,
the type
the
of thing
next
that
Fallout,
wins
the
me
next
over.
Skyrim, Game Pass.
And the
That'd be wild,
Kojima
man.
news was really good. So I don't
StarCraft,
like.
Warcraft, Game Pass.
That's right. You forget the Blizzard titles
Like
too.
that's what I'm just trying to like the PC market that they now own is huge. You're not going to go on Steam and buy these games. You're just going to get Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
And all the cosmetics and stuff like for League and for Overwatch. You want to
It
get some loot
all for
boxes, it's got to
free.
go through. Well, the loot boxes. You want to get loot boxes, you got to
Yes,
buy it from
but all the
Microsoft.
DLC, Waba, Game Pass. Think about it. You're just getting it.
Crazy.
It was. I walked away from that conference going, wow. And then you see all these indie games they show, and I'm like, that's awesome. Like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles tomorrow. By the way, if you got Game Pass,
Yep.
it's on Game Pass
Sheesh.
tomorrow, and I can't wait to play it.
I'll be playing
Pez and
it
I will give
tomorrow night. Can't wait.
Pez and I will do a review, and we'll get it out on this channel as soon as we can get ourselves together. I can't wait to play that game tomorrow. But they are going to be dropping. If you look at the schedule, they have at least a AA indie or a AAA dropping every month for the next 12 months.
There you go. Value.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like yes, they didn't drop. They dropped a lot of third-party games this year. They Halo Infinite was last year, but still, but they didn't have the best. But they've set up their next year, and you're just like, damn. And then we end it with Starfield, and I know there was a lot of things going around, people saying things, and we've even found out more. Todd Howard saying that your protagonist doesn't speak, but from what I understand, besides Fallout, your protagonist in their games never speaks. So we'll see. The only thing that I was more of like, that's a choice. You can't just they show in that you're flying out into space, but I guess that's just autopilot. You're not actually doing that. So I was like, okay. But the dog fights, to me, Starfield looked great. It looked better than any Bethesda game I've ever seen, mind you. The smoke effects and the fire effects, and this is me nitpicking, looked absolutely terrible when the thing was landing. I know people are comparing it to No Man's Sky, but I've said this before and I'll say it again. You can compare any game to any game. This is not the first space exploration game. So really? Technically, they're all Space Quest, okay, people? They're all Space Quest. Like, I'm not wrong.
No, you're not wrong.
Guys,
So,
do you have a spicy
Starfield looked great to me.
Do you have a
Starfield
spicy
looked
take
like
on Starfield?
Not yet. I need to see more
I
of
haven't played it.
You played it?
No,
No,
I said
we
I
haven't.
haven't played it.
Oh,
It's
you
like when as soon as the conference is over, I'm looking on social media. Everybody's like, 100,000. What? This game's gonna be forever. And then Todd Howard the next day is like, it's 30 to 40 hours if you mainline and not doing any of the side quests. But everybody was already complaining the game was too long. And I even put out a tweet this morning on Carpo Game. Like, have people played this game and I don't know about it? How are they already complaining to the length of a game they haven't played?
Well, the thing is, as we know,
Remember Dying Light 2?
as we know with gamers, they like to complain. Because you can't sit there and tell me Skyrim is one of your favorite games of all time and then worry about the length of Starfield. Because Skyrim is a long game, full of ridiculous, great side quests. But it's a very long game.
Sorry. Nick's asked you a question
Hold on.
in the chat. Is Overwatch 2 going to have story?
Do we think Overwatch 2 will have story ties into the first? Yes. I believe what'll happen. So what they're gonna do is, they made it free to play, so anyone can play PvP. But if you want the PvE elements of it, you're gonna pay for it. So your PvE elements are gonna be like, who knows, $30, $40. You're like, and that'll be their whole PvE side, and that will tie into all the story of Overwatch 1. But yeah. Back to Starfield, real quick. I am worried. I'm not really worried about anything yet. The game's not coming out until like what they say? February, March? Who knows?
They didn't say anything.
Who knows?
2023.
We know it's coming next year. It's too early for me to care about it. Honestly, it's too early for me to care because we don't know. Like, yeah, there's 1,000 planets, but we know some of them are custom done, and we know some of them are procedural, right? So we don't know how those things will interact. We know the protagonist is silent. I'm not crazy about it, but also like the Fallout 4 Sole Survivor was kind of annoying towards the end, and I'm like, dude, just shut up. I don't want to hear you talk anymore, right? So I was a big Fallout 3 guy. I'm a big Skyrim guy. Fallout 4, I wasn't crazy about. More because they neutered, especially for me, they neutered a bunch of the dialogue options, which I felt made Fallout 3 what it was, and New Vegas like what it was. And then Fallout 76, I don't count Fallout 76 because ZeniMax and Bethesda Austin worked on Fallout 76, and it was a disaster.
Supposedly it's a good game now,
And it's, I
and
mean,
it's got an expansion coming, Pittsburgh or whatever.
yep. So it has a new Pittsburgh expansion coming that they showed during the conference. But Bethesda Softworks, which is their main studio, makes good buggy games, and I expect a good buggy game. That's my expectation for Starfield. It's going to be an enjoyable experience, I believe, but it's going to be buggy, and it's something they haven't done before. So if it's a mess, I'm not going to be surprised by it. Like,
I just look at this conference as a win, and that's not even to mention we already know that Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop are coming to Game Pass next year.
yep.
Like that's not even to mention in September we know Deathloop will be on Game Pass. 100%, it is on Game Pass. That's when the year is up, so that game's on Geth, and then Ghostwire Tokyo is what, December?
Yeah.
So Xbox has those two games.
Boom.
And one more thing about Starfield. So I was reading a thing on IGN today that Todd Howard he did an interview with IGN, and he was saying New Atlantis, which is like one of the planets like capitals, is one of the biggest cities they've ever made. Bigger than anything in Skyrim, bigger than what was the
Bigger than Boston and Fallout?
Yep, bigger. It's the biggest
Bigger.
city that they've ever worked on.
Bigger pizza.
Wicked pissa.
Sorry.
Freaking
Not
huge,
as good accent though.
freaking huge guy. One time I actually I told Bethesda that I would do voice work for NPCs for free, using my Boston accent. Shockingly, they never got back to me.
That's why the game isn't as good as it could have been.
I know, could have had
'cause you
local
weren't in it.
flavor. Right there. There you go. It could have said like,
Local
"Hey, what are you
flavor.
doing, guy? Hey, guy, you got some of that local flavor?"
I will say some of the Boston accents in 4 were seemed forced. So
They were terrible.
I love the game, but yeah.
I thought the show overall was great. I actually wrote a list of the games that I think were the ones that I'm really excited for. And what I think what I liked the most about it was it wasn't just a parade of first party games. There were third party games, there were indie games. They did a great job showing everything. But then you have what this showcase does is it makes games like Redfall a game like I necessarily didn't care about, and I think I said it on the show. Like, I don't know if it's
Yeah,
gonna be
I
for
didn't
me.
either.
I saw it and I'm like, wow, I gotta play this game. This is like my buddies in a group chat were like, this is the next squad game. Like we knew it.
100% because it's Game Pass.
Yeah,
It's
we knew it.
everybody can play. It's like anybody who has an Xbox, you're like, hey, or a PC, and you're like, hey, the newest game dropped. Do you want to just play it? Like tomorrow, Pez, hey, do you want to play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Because
Yeah.
we could just play it.
We
Yep,
can just-
and we're
we
gonna
can
do
just
that.
it. I like that Grounded is getting a full release.
Oh yeah, that's a Pez ass game.
So we have played that on my Tuesday streams, 2 crew. So me and like 3 or 4 of my best streaming buddies get together and we do a little co-op gaming. But we played it in early access, but now they're releasing the whole thing.
And then you got your new Sea of Thieves stuff.
Yep, Sea of Thieves, the new season drops. I can finally name my ship. So Captain
What are you
Redbeard
gonna name it?
is
You could also edit your pirate better. It looks like
Yes, there is some customization.
What are you naming your ship?
because before pirates were just random, right, Pez?
There was some cosmetics you could buy, but not a lot.
Yeah.
So my pirate's name is Captain Redbeard, obviously.
Shocker.
He has a red parakeet called Captain Redbird, and his boat is called Captain Redboat, and it is a red boat. So that's what.
Why
it's
not
called.
the SS?
I have
SS
actually-
Dingus.
I've been on said boat.
What has sailed Captain
I have seen said
Redbeard's
bird.
red boat?
I have. It was my first. We played it for about a month there, and then Pez was like, "Yeah, so I'm out." Because he'd already been playing, and they came in. They got like re-energized because I wanted to play it, and then I was still wanting to play it, and they were like, "Yeah, so we're out." And I'm like, "Oh man."
The new flavor of the month came out. I don't remember what it was, but it came out. Plague
It
Tale
was that
Requiem?
DayZ game or whatever. You guys went to DayZ or whatever.
Man, I love DayZ. Plague Tale Requiem I don't know if you guys have ever played Plague Tale.
Yeah,
I-
that game is not for me, but that's
Oof.
fine.
Loved it.
Cool.
So that the sequel looks great. And then
When you played Assassin's Creed, did you like doing those like quests where you're just following someone?
they weren't terrible, but they weren't my favorite.
I'm just weird. You like Plague Tale, so I was just like, okay.
Yeah, they weren't my favorite.
That's
But
the
in
same
Assassin's
thing.
Creed, it's like I want to jump off the building and stab this guy in the top of the head.
Yeah, and in Plague Tale, you're just like, nope.
You're like, we gotta stay away from the rats. That's it.
Mm,
That's it.
mm.
The last two,
Sounds like
Diablo
fun.
4, obviously Diablo 4, and
Awesome.
Lightyear Frontier, which was the little mech farming game. It was like Stardew Valley mixed with like mech warriors or something. It looked pretty good. It looked pretty good, and it looks like a little indie title that I can get down with.
There was a bunch of, oh man, it's so bad. I wish I would wrote them all down. There was that Simon Fox or whatever it was called.
Oh, the Benedict Fox.
Benedict Fox. That
Yep,
looked very
that
good.
game
And then
looks
there was
wild,
the other
too.
game that everybody keeps talking about, the choose your own adventure type game that looked like it had Phil Kessel in it. It did. It looked like Phil Kessel.
Bill.
I said that joke on Carpool, and it just went like nobody. Like it was nothing. I was
Imagine being Canadian and
Truly
not
the
getting
worst
that joke.
Canadians.
but like, come on, man. Like it was definitely Phil Kessel, right? I still
It's
can't
like
get over
Marco Polo. Someone says Phil Kessel.
Pentiment.
Obligatory.
Oh,
Someone has to say hot
as
dog.
dusk falls. As dusk falls.
Okay, yeah.
It supposedly is very good. I'll try it. It's going to be on Game Pass. I'll give it a try. Like, why not? Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Game Pass day one. Flight Simulator, 40th anniversary. Not a game for me.
Nope.
Fall Guys is coming to Game Pass. The Master Chief is in it. Minecraft Legends is a game that I really wanted to play that was announced. Just because I really like Minecraft Dungeons, and so far they've done, and it looks a lot like I think Sean explained it looks like Dragon Quest Castle Builders or whatever it was. It looks the exact same thing. And then Stalker is being delayed for obvious reasons because there's a war going on. They're courageous and they're awesome people, and I hope they get out safe. And that's pretty much the show.
Yep.
It was very good. Oh,
was a good
and
show.
they announced the next day Valheim, which is supposedly a big thing, is coming to Game Pass.
Yeah,
don't know what this
it's like a
is.
PC survival.
PC
farming
Once again,
type
yeah.
thing.
Once again, PC, Xbox going, hey, PC players,
Mhm.
free here, come over
Smart.
here. It's very smart.
As they should, especially when your console is built on top of Windows, right? Like you should be doing that. Smart.
I just thought it was very smart. I know there was a lot of people I saw the next day. Oh, we got a B, or we're giving it a C. They didn't, and I loved when they were like, they didn't show us Indiana Jones. Well, it's because the game's not coming out.
Right.
Not yet. It's coming, but it ain't here yet. Like I was even one screaming Banjo, and I never got it. That's fine. But their next conference, just think about this. Their next conference will be Avowed,
Yep.
Fable,
Yep.
why is my brain not working? Whatever Machine Games is working on. Gears of War. Like, think about the games that they get to announce at their next show. They didn't even talk about Halo at this show. They didn't even
Crazy,
talk about
right?
it.
Craziness.
Like, if they still have Contraband. They have all these games that they didn't even talk about. They'll be able to talk about Skyrim because we all know it's coming. They can talk about Skyrim at their next show. Like, that's crazy.
Well, I mean, I like that. I like that the company flat out said these are coming in the next 12 months, right? So there was no. So your expectations were tempered right there. There's nothing on Fallout 5, which isn't coming till after Elder Scrolls 6. So nothing.
And
on
what
Elder
about the
Scrolls
rumored
6.
New Vegas reboot that we all know is being made because we've seen the LinkedIn profiles? So that's obviously at their next showcase too. And think about it. You know what their next showcase is? It's gonna have to be 2 freaking shows. They can't do one because they got Call of Duty now.
Yep.
They
unless,
won't even.
Unless
They're
they
gonna
do a separate, Call of Duty show or whatever.
No, it's going to be so big that they're like, we can't even have third parties here. We'll have our Game Pass show and we'll have our AAA kick your ball show.
They'll have to have a separate show for like Microsoft Studios, Bethesda, and then
Well,
Activision
I
Blizzard.
don't even know how. Like I look at what they're gonna do. Like think about it. Like that's huge.
Yep.
They're gonna have to do like small shows to do deep dives into Overwatch 2. Like,
Well, Overwatch 2,
oh
I
my
feel like
god.
it's gonna. They always do different, like little
Think
small
about
news
it. Think
drops.
about now that today got announced that they get to do this deal. So the deal's gonna happen now. And it was almost like it went under the radar. Mind you, all of us here were just still thinking about Bruce Cassidy being fired, but it all gets under the
Too soon.
radar.
Fair. Fair.
It all goes under the radar, and you and I all know in September they're going to be like, not just hey, here's what's on. Waba's gonna have his think of it. Tony Hawk is on Game Pass. Every Call of Duty is on Game Pass. Like every Diablo game is now on Game Pass. World of Warcraft is now on Game Pass PC. Like think about this. Think about what everybody's like. Oh, what does Xbox have in the fall? They have the Activision Blizzard catalog
Yeah,
that's about
right?
to drop on Game Pass.
I feel like we were asking that question before they started buying Activision, and now it's like, well, what does Microsoft have? And it's like, okay, they've got some titles, and now it's like, well, now they have this whole, Bethesda Activision lineup, and they're
Crash
just
Bandicoot,
utilizing it.
every one of them, Game Pass.
Bandicoot, well,
Still, think about it. All the
Tony's
Bandicoots,
mascot, baby.
Game Pass.
Bandikai, I believe.
What else does Activision have? What other IPs do they have?
What other IPs?
Why is my brain not working?
Well, I mean, you'll get like Heroes of the Storm, which is a Blizzard game. You'll get all the
I have to look it up.
Diablos. You'll get probably like
Everything is literally Call of Duty.
No, you'll probably get
think
like
about it. There's like
Spyro,
12. There's like
Oh, they have
18.
Sekiro. That's a really
They got like 18 Call of Duties.
dude. Their whole website is Call of Duty.
Yeah, of course
But
it is.
just
It's the
how
biggest
crazy is that?
franchise in the world.
That when this deal goes through, so say the deal, they get confirmation that deal is going through, then the games will start coming on Game Pass. And if you're Microsoft, you're like, well, let's get them on Game Pass as quickly as humanly possible. So they'll be like, you know what? In November, God of War is coming out on PlayStation. We're gonna drop every Bethesda and Activision game on Game Pass. Because remember what they did for the Bethesda thing? They put like a good chunk of them on, and then some of them came later because they were on other services. Well, and speaking of which, the Bethesda games are still on PlayStation Plus, which is very interesting. Especially when we also got Midnight Suns has Spider-Man in it, and that's going to be on an Xbox. How about that one?
That is weird.
That's on an Xbox console, and Xbox even put that out on a tweet. Like, look, we've got Spider-Man. Like, that was pretty funny. But they're about to drop all of these games, and not just them. Like they're going to drop them at first, but you know what the way Microsoft works. They're going to do all that backwards compat stuff and up the frames. So you're going to be playing Call of Duty World at War in like auto HDR 60 frames per second. Hey,
you picked the good game out of the old CODs.
it's one of the best.
Got Gary Oldman, Kiefer Sutherland.
But think how good they're about to do. Like they're about to do some crazy stuff. And it's like, okay. Like PlayStation, as someone who's a fan of both consoles, and I truly think there's great things on both. Sony announced last week my favorite game of all time is going to have a remake coming out in September, and the screenshots of that game looks unbelievable.
Did you see some of the changes to the character models they did?
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean in a bad way. It's different, but it's not bad.
Nope, I agree.
Like I feel like the one I saw specifically was Tess. It made her look older, and I feel like it creates a different. It will to me. It makes her a different character, but that doesn't mean it's a bad. It's just a new version.
I think it made it so Joel aligns more with the Joel that we saw in Last of Us 2.
He looks way older
before he went golfing.
Yeah, it's so weird, and people are like, "Oh, like this sucks." It's like it doesn't suck.
Hez didn't even get that.
Well, I mean, no, I got it. I know that's
it's just a new game.
So did he.
That's right.
It's I don't know. It looks great, and I remember we're like, why would we buy this game again? Well, now I know why. Because it looks friggin' amazing. I'm going.
Sorry, Nick, we haven't even got there, buddy. Yes. Also, but I thought we talked about this last week. I thought I talked about this last week. I did. So Nick, I talked about it last week about how all that was spoken about last week. Nick, sorry, it really was. It was the non-YouTube version, so you'd only be able to get the all third-party games and Game Pass games will be now being playable in the cloud. So if you own that third-party game, you will be able to play that in cloud as long as you're a Game Pass subscriber. So you'll be able to, like, you're sitting here on your phone and you're sitting there at like your wife's family's house and you're like, oh my God. And you're like, wait a second. And you just open your phone and play NHL for a bit while you're bored.
Imagine, imagine getting caught and it's like, wait, what are you doing over there? I'm playing Persona 4. Well, what's
like,
that game about?
I'm streaming.
I'm a Japanese high schooler and I'm taking Rise on a date. But you're here with your wife's family. There's gonna be a lot of.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing it. That's what you say back.
I don't want to get invited back.
It's all right, Nick. We love you, buddy.
So kind of on the other side of things, I know we talked about it a little bit, but the only well, no, there's a lot of big news this past week, but PlayStation Plus just recently relaunched with the
Yes.
different tiers.
I've been playing it since it launched.
It's really well for Sony. It's really good.
I think it's very cool, but I have my gripes comparing. I don't think it's fair yet to compare it to Game Pass. I think a better comparison would be what Game Pass originally launched as.
So to initially upgrade, because it's all prorated, so you have to pay the initial get-in fee. To upgrade to extra, it's like $22 in the US, and then to upgrade to premium, it's like $33. So it's an extra $10 after that to get like access to the premium, whatever. So, Court, you've been doing. Did you go for extra or pre? You went for the highest tier.
All the way, baby.
Here we go. Pez, did you do this at all?
Nope. They wanted an extra, I don't know, $25, and I said, nah, nope, not happening.
Pez told him to kick rocks. I got the extra. I like this. So again, I'm not as involved in Game Pass and stuff because I refuse to move.
Hold on. Can we, before we get into this, Waba, are you buying an Xbox?
Eventually. I will say, so when I was listening to the conference, I was doing eBay stuff, and when I heard the Atlas announcement, I knew exactly. I heard a string of text, and I was like, I just stopped what I was doing and turned around, and then Diablo, and that's what made me turn around everything else I was listening to.
Yeah, 2 of your favorite games are now on Game Pass.
Yeah. Likely I will. I've been planning on getting one for a while.
Yeah, and I would suggest the S for you.
I'm gonna be getting the digital. I'm gonna see if they will do another version, so the current ones will get cheaper. I don't need like the biggest thing, but
nothing eminent that I know of.
But yeah, I'll
and
get
even
it just
the
for a few
dongle
games.
that's coming that everybody knows is coming. I don't think that's good enough for you as someone that's a streamer. The dongle doesn't work.
No, then I'll get I'll get
If
an
you can get an
Xbox
S,
S.
I would suggest the S because then you can still do streaming and say you're playing NHL and your S can now be your portable. Till we get into PlayStation, your S can now be your portable console that you can literally just take your game, even whether you're playing it on PlayStation alone, as long as it's not a PlayStation first party game, and still play it. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do think I think I'm gonna get an S eventually, and by eventually I mean very soon, because I think the offering from what's coming out, there are definitely some experiences I can't have anymore on PlayStation. Not some of the larger titles, but like what is it, like when a Hellblade the sequel comes out?
Senua's Soul Sacrifice, but that's not coming out in the next 12 months. That was once again not even shown at the conference.
Yeah, but there's just, I mean, with some of the acquisitions they made, it's one of those things where it's like I can only play a few of the games.
And
so.
it's not even that for you getting an S and going into it as someone that's never had an Xbox. You could just go into Game Pass and be like, yeah, so I'm just gonna play these games for the next like year. Because there's so much in there that you haven't played.
No, it is nice because I know I mentioned like the PlayStation, like I kind of did that.
Would love Gears Tactics, love Gears Tactics.
I don't care much for the Gears universe.
No, I'm just telling you the gameplay and the Halo.
The gameplay, Wars. Halo Wars, yeah. I those type of strategy games I think are cool. And you can play them on PC.
And you also get Age of Empires on PC and so on. Like there's some good games.
Yeah, you can't play them on console, but yeah, no, I agree with you on that. But yeah, and again, similar to PlayStation, like the Plus thing, like I downloaded Artful Escape and I platinumed
and I am so glad. And the developer actually liked your tweet.
It did. It was very
cool. My well, if you remember when we did Game of the Years, it was on my list.
It's really good.
I was blown away by that game. That was the first indie game since Guacamelee that has blown me away to the, oh my God, whatever this developer puts out, I'm going to play.
Yeah, in a permanent. Yeah, they're it was just a cool like artsy fartsy game, and I don't know, I like the music in it.
Artsy fart. I thought it was in
I don't mean
depth.
that in a
Like,
bad way. I just
yeah, like
thought,
obviously the character's Bob Dylan. Like, who are we kidding?
Oh, yeah.
But I love the art direction in that game so much. It was just, I can't believe it
Also-
was just beautiful to play.
Carl Weathers as a voice actor, Lena Headey. Like, are you kidding me? Like, Mark Strong is like, how do you get these people? I loved it.
You put out a
Great.
game.
Well, yeah, my pets goes
You
money,
put out a
but-
game like when you're jumping in the air and you do the guitar stuff, and then all of a sudden the backgrounds like. And I have you played it yet, Pez?
Yeah, great game.
So like when you're jumping in the air, and anytime you strum the guitar, the background will move to the music, and it was just so well done. Like it's so simple yet amazing at the same time.
That
How
game is
great
based
that
on
game
Pez's
is.
life, I heard.
Like I could play it again.
days.
I really like that game.
Is that it, Waba? My young days as a bass player.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy that PlayStation players are getting games like that, because this was tied right back into, guess what? That was already on Game Pass.
I also played Celeste, which is not a game one would think I would play.
And guess what? Guess where that already was,
dude.
Yeah. It's
Guess
I
where
don't love it.
Guess where that already was.
Yeah, but it's nice now that PlayStation folks.
I don't disagree with you. I wanna touch on the classic games for the people that play for the premium tier.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I do a show called the PlayStation Drive, and I am a huge fan of PlayStation. But I also found out PlayStation 1 era, those games, they don't hold up.
No.
For me, at least. Some people might love it. Those games don't hold up. Siphon Filter has tank controls. Ooh, I kept trying. And also, I think our brains are reprogrammed now. We're so used to dual sticks, and it's a single stick, and it was very, very hard to get the hang of. I'm like, I see a guy up on and I couldn't aim at him. I'm like, what? Why? Why? Didn't make any sense. But
nothing in that catalog that's appealing. Even the stuff that I know.
No,
I
I tried. Siphon Filter was one of my favorite games. But it don't play any fun anymore. I saw people platinum it, and I'm like, that's great. To each their own. I tried playing Ape Escape. I don't know, the controls. It just didn't feel right. And I don't know what it is. And I said this before we recorded. I can go back and play a Super Nintendo game. The art direction, it's side scroller, it's this thing, or it's just a top down. There's not many other ways you can do it, right? You're either going side to side or you're top down. And then you have NES, which is the same thing, but you're having the 8-bit versus 16-bit. It's a great art direction. Games still do it. It looks beautiful, and the games hold up. But the games from the GameCube, PS1, and Xbox, and I find this on Game Pass too when you play Xbox One games, like the original I can't even call it. So just the Xbox. They don't hold up. Like they're not as fun.
Most N64 games in that.
Oh, yeah. You know how I feel about that console.
I know you love it so much.
Even some PS2, like I was looking at there are some titles I very much like. Like I played some of like Rogue Legacy, Dark Cloud. Like those are classic, highly rated JRPGs. They need an overhaul. Like it's turn-based, JRPG combat. It's still old. Like why would I play that instead of one of the newer titles? Like with polish. And I understand the story's good. Watch the YouTube video.
But I also think we got spoiled with
old.
the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 generation, where at the time we didn't think it was that big of a jump. But now going back and playing these games,
Crazy.
I'm like, oh my god, it's a jump. Like it's a huge jump, and it sucks because I was actually looking forward to playing these classic games.
Well, that's why.
I came away going, I don't need that section. I don't need the premium tier.
That's why you're seeing a lot of old games get remade.
Yep.
Or remastered. Is mostly is to bring the controls into a playable state. Because I'm telling you, if you go back, if you hooked up an N64 and tried to play GoldenEye, you would throw it out the window.
Well, yeah, and look at Resident Evil. If you have it on, so those games are currently on the PlayStation Plus service. but if you play them on Xbox, they're fully upgraded for free. But they're not on the PlayStation Plus service, and then I think that's why I can't compare this service to the Xbox, because they're not doing the glow ups. They're doing them on some, like Siphon Filter's got it's got the frame rates and all that, and it looks brighter, but it still just looks like this thing. But when you do it on the Xbox, when they do their glow ups on their games, their HDRs, their 4Ks, and the uncapped frame rates, you can see the difference. And I think this is a very, 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 very good start. It's a better start than Game Pass did. Game Pass's initial launch was terrible. If this is PlayStation's initial launch, bravo. Like, it's phenomenal. Can't wait to see what they got coming. But when you
that's
release
the thing.
Spider-Man,
They need to keep doing stuff.
when you see Spider-Man only the PS4 version, when you're already as a gamer, you know there's a PS5 version. Come on, man.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the
no.
kind of kicking the
Not when you're
the
giving us
pants.
Ghost of Tsushima and all these other games that came out after the Spider-Man PS5 version. You can't. No, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
If you didn't own a PS3 though, like that PS3 offering is really good.
Yeah, 100%. And I tried
Really,
some of the
really
games.
good.
PS, I played Infamous. It's in the cloud. It ran great.
Yeah,
I didn't notice a
good.
thing.
But
Didn't notice a thing.
I like it. I'm playing like, you know, and I guess that's what I would like act when I got, you know, if I get Game Pass, it's like you just try stuff. And if you like it, great. And it's like if you don't, like, I get to play like Uncharted Lost Legacy, which I've never played. I'm gonna try the Bubsy game, which I used to play on the
But
Genesis.
see,
Like all
that's
this
when
weird stuff.
you get me angry again, because Uncharted 4 is in there, and I've got the Uncharted. I don't get the PS5 version.
Yeah,
And it don't make any sense to me.
that's
Even their Uncharted, they have an Uncharted Nathan Drake collection.
that is
But they
same with
didn't.
like Gravity Rush. You can
They were
play
like,
premium
hey,
for it,
we
like,
know we
fine.
have the Nathan Drake collection, and we know you can play it on your PS5 and your PS4, but we're going to give you the PS3 versions of these games.
So I
What?
hope, I
What?
hope that people like give them the feedback and that they like kind of change it, because it's first party, like they have the power to. It's just really,
They got a
it's
power.
really weird.
It's a choice that they made on certain games and a choice they made on other games, and I don't get it.
Yeah,
But like
and
I said, way better start than the Game Pass did on Xbox. Is
Also
the
give it-
service worth it? Sure. I just don't think, for me personally, the premium tier is worth it. The being able to play Hot Wheels and all that demo thing. Now knowing that Xbox is doing the same thing and they're just giving it to you for free anyways. What? That was another thing Xbox announced. They're gonna do that demo thing. It's just gonna be free. It's not gonna be part of any tier. Here it is.
Everyone was freaking out about Tekken 2 on the premium tier. Shocker. Tekken 2 sucks now. Go play Street Fighter 6 when it comes out, or one of the new Tekkens.
Yeah, especially because it's on the Xbox now.
I'm telling you, the nostalgia only works before you actually play the game.
Hey, wouldn't it be hilarious
Tekken
if
2
that
doesn't
dropped
play
on
the
Game
same.
Pass?
What, Tekken 2?
No, Street Fighter 6.
I was like Tekken 2, you're gonna get all the nerds who just paid an extra $30. Street Fighter 6, PlayStation owns like the Evo and stuff like that. It's not gonna go.
What does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. They don't own the Capcom.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I imagine Capcom is working more closely with Sony because of things like
PlayStation
the
does
Capcom
own
Cup.
all of these things, but Xbox owns Call of Duty.
Yeah,
And that is a huge chip.
Did any of you watch Capcom's presentation?
No, I was going to let you talk about that because that's a Pez-ass thing.
Yeah, it was only like it was short. It was like a half hour, 45 minutes. They showed Resident Evil Village DLC, so Resi 8 DLC. I think they showed some of Resident Evil 4, the remaster or remake,
That's
whatever
right.
it's called.
They did, and they look great. To be totally honest with you, I'm debating buying them on Xbox so I can play them.
Resident Evil 4 is my favorite Resident Evil game, so I will probably rebuy it.
It looked. I saw people putting screenshots up and so on and so. Looked beautiful.
Yeah, it looks very good. And then they did 15 minutes on Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak expansion, which 100% is being bought on, I think it comes out June 30th. It's already pre-ordered on my Switch. Ready to go. I knew it. If it's anything like Monster Hunter World Iceborne, it's going to have a ton of content, and it comes out with Master Rank, which is like the hardest rank that you can fight monsters in. It's going to be amazing. I thought it was a good show. It was short, which I am 100% down with. Give me short shows and just keep feeding me the videos. Don't need dev diaries. Don't need Porsches. Don't need any of that garbage that like E3 used to do. Not a bad show. And obviously they showed Street Fighter 6. Obviously.
Street Fighter 6 looks very good. I'm a huge Street Fighter fan.
Very good. I'm not a huge fighting games fan. Like, I played Mortal Kombat. My favorite fighting game is probably Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I feel like that's like
Marvel.
Everybody's. I feel like that's everybody's. Gonna take you for a ride, right? Like, the best. Also, my team was oh my god, who was my team? It was Cyclops, Wolverine, and Cable.
Strong team.
That was my jam back in the day.
You're not some Sentinel cheese.
No.
That's fair.
So I thought Capcom did a pretty good job, and I think that their games are gonna continue to be good. We've seen like this crazy resurgence in the past 5 years of Capcom. Because like
I really didn't. I was down on Capcom, especially after Street Fighter 5. I
I
didn't
was
like how
too.
everything was very microtransaction-y. I thought the gameplay was fine, but it really didn't have the traction that 4 did. The hype level around it, and also, the fact that like Evos were canceled and stuff like that didn't, they were virtual, didn't help.
Yeah.
But 6 looks like the art style looks like a resurgence. I screamed during the trailer. It's got the hype. It's what the FGC needs.
Yeah, I think I think Capcom, because you think of Capcom like pre Monster Hunter World and Street Fighter 5, like you think of Capcom and it was just all these like bad, not good games that came out, right? Like they're just like it's a Capcom game. It's kind of like where Square Enix is right now. Where you're like, that's a Square Enix game.
An
Right?
NFT.
You do like the face to the camera and it pans in, and then it's just like Capcom has really stepped their game up, and the Resident Evil stuff is good. I never played Resident Evil 8. I'm probably not going to play it.
No.
Unless it comes on Game Pass, because that's when I played Resident Evil 7 when it came to Game Pass, and it scared the bejesus out of me.
Right there with Pez. There are a lot of games that the come to Game Pass. Last but not least, I want to talk about one game because we didn't get to talk about Summer Games Fest. That happened after our show last week.
Yep.
Callisto Protocol. It is definitely not a WABA ass game because WABA would poo his pants playing that game. It is from the makers of Dead Space.
Yeah, F that, dude. Forget that. I'm out.
And it looks amazing. But amazing.
That is
like Dead Space is one of my favorite games, and I don't like horror games, but space horror is nothing to me because you know what? It's not real. So,
real to me, damn it.
Real
to me.
It's not like Resident Evil where you can, the jump scares. This is just, I don't know, man. That game looks so good.
Yeah.
So good.
100.
Pez, you better stream that.
It is 110% a Skip has Friday night evening event.
It looks so good. Like just about Pez Dolby Atmos on the Xbox. It scared a poopies out of you.
Craziness.
But anyways,
I actually Summer Games Fest. Touch on it real quickly. What did you guys think of it? Good, bad, and different.
Now that I've seen the Xbox showcase, what I took away from Summer Games Fest, Callisto Protocol, I'm all in. Dead Space, I'm all in, and The Last of Us, I'm all in, and the rest of it, whatever.
Waba?
Yeah, it's whatever. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
Xbox had a better showcase.
I mean, I like, like they had news for stuff I liked. I liked being able to see Street Fighter, Last of Us, but it's not really a crazy amount for
Xbox
me.
keeping everything for their showcase kind of hurt him.
Oh, 100%. You know what's kind of a kick in the pants, I will say, for Jeff Keighley is Sony leaked The Last of Us in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Because think about it, if you were watching that and you weren't expecting The Last of Us, and all of a sudden it came on the screen, your hats would have went to the ceiling.
To the ceiling. Yep.
Your hats would have went right to the ceiling. And we know
As they do.
We know it, but yeah, it was fine. I think Xbox stole the show.
Yeah.
They stole the weekend.
I know we said one last quick thing, very quick. I want to close the loop on something. Seth Green.
The Colorado Avalanche are running
2-0.
Running It's like they're running a train on the Tampa Bay Lightning right now.
Pez and I talked about Seth Green and his unfortunate loss of his Bored Ape.
Why are you bringing that back up?
Because it was it was sold for $200,000 immediately. He has gotten it back. So for all those who are worried about Seth Green and his financial future,
I don't
just
care
know
about his
that he did.
NFTs. I
Just
hope
know-
his NFT, someone photocopies it or whatever they can do with it, and it all goes away.
Listen,
'cause
Wob,
you know what?
Bored Ape Yacht Club number 8398 is back home.
He
where
couldn't
belongs.
make
one
his
cares.
show without his sweet ape, and now his ape is home.
So
His sweet
at
ape
Dark
came
Witch-
back.
How did he not just like get a normal screenshot of what? Like, this is
It's
so
not how- it's
embarrassing
not
at this
how it
point.
works.
This is so embarrassing at this point.
Fungible.
It is non-fungible.
It is so Yeah, guess what the stock market is saying to non-fungible Bitcoin right now?
Yeah,
Go
it's all
F
it's all
yourself.
non-fungible.
Go
but
fund
Go-
yourself.
I needed to
Yeah,
just
like
let folks know
seriously,
that.
figure it out, people.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have today. Thank you all for joining us. If you had fun, please check us out on YouTube. You can hang out with us live. You can ask us questions just like Nick Johnson did during the show. Also, drop us a sub. It's free. YouTube.com/3dads-and-a-console. Also, make sure to rate us on your podcast platform of choice. Why not? 5 stars looks good. 5 out of 5 looks good. Don't do anything less than that because you love us. Or do. We're not your dads, but we're 3 dads and a console, and we're happy you're here. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you in the next one.